The Seed of Avalon, a story about never giving up, resilience and patience. There was a town where money did not exist, only the barter of fruits. It was a place where life revolved solely around agriculture. At the age of 16, each teenager was given a seed. They could choose a seed from among many possibilities. This seed would determine their life as a farmer, allowing them to grow, prosper, and enjoy various comforts. There were seeds that were considered safe to grow and prosper, and there were other seeds that people didn't believe were safe to cultivate. The seed that Pedro wanted was the Avalon seed, an extremely rare seed that produced the strongest wood for building the best houses and the most delicious fruit, highly valued in the town. However, this seed was also very expensive, and it was said that only one would germinate out of 1,000. Because of this, people didn't bother choosing it. But those who had it enjoyed happiness and could obtain any goods they desired. Pedro's parents only wanted him to choose a safe and reliable seed, like tomato or orange, so he could make a living. They couldn't afford the luxury and risk of buying an Avalon seed. Pedro understood the difficulty his parents faced, and eventually, he chose the apple seed. He spent a few years trying to make it germinate in his home garden, with his parents' support. However, he could only dream of the Avalon tree. After 2 years, the tree wasn't growing well. It eventually fell because Pedro didn't take care of it enough. He spent his time doing other things and visiting the few Avalon trees in the town. His parents couldn't believe it and punished Pedro, even though he was already an adult. However, they soon got over it and talked to him. He explained that he just wanted to grow an Avalon tree. His parents told him no, that he would waste his life on something so uncertain. To get another seed, his parents had to sell half of their belongings. With great effort, they decided to get him a peach seed, a seed that could fully grow in 3 to 4 years and provided stability. Pedro promised them that this time he would do it right. Seeing his friends living more comfortably from their fruits made him frustrated. He saw them so content, as if they were satisfied with what they were doing. But Pedro wanted something more, something as grand and ambitious as the Avalon tree. However, getting a seed was going to be very difficult, and even after that, he didn't know if it would grow. He didn't know what to do. He didn't know if his dream was worth it. And he also didn't know if it was worth living knowing that he might not be able to fulfill that dream. He spent his days very sad but decided that, at least for the moment, he should grow that peach seed. 3 years passed, and finally, the tree started bearing good fruit. Prosperity began entering his life. However, true satisfaction continued to elude him. Pedro married Vanessa and had a child. They bought a house after a few years. With the peach tree and Vanessa's large apple tree, they could live a relatively comfortable life. But that dissatisfaction still lingered deep within him, so Pedro proposed something too outrageous for the people of his town, selling their peach tree to buy an Avalon seed. Vanessa thought he was crazy, but Pedro insisted that she support him in his idea. That was his true dream in life. Vanessa was not sure, as their tree provided enough for them to subsist. She told him to think it over again, as he would be risking several years of effort and their comfort. Pedro told her he had great faith and that if he didn't fulfill his dream, he would never truly be happy. Vanessa thought about it for several days. But in the end, she agreed, even though it seemed like an extreme madness. They sold their peach tree. His parents couldn't believe it, but he was mature enough to make his own decisions. The seedbed provided him with an Avalon seed. Everyone thought it was like gambling all their savings on roulette. But for Pedro, it was what truly filled his soul with hope. Pedro planted it with excitement. A year passed, and the seed didn't germinate, another year passed, and still nothing. By the 3rd year, he didn't know what to do. It seemed like he had received one of the seeds that would never germinate. In the 4th year, after persistently caring for his seed, he saw no results and fell into deep sadness and frustration. Everyone in the town knew about him and what he had done over the years, and they were not surprised. It was what everyone expected to happen. One day, a man named Caesar, known as the most prosperous man there, with 3 Avalon trees, visited Pedro in his now humble home. He had heard all about his story and had something important to tell him. "I've heard about you. There's a secret almost no one knows. I was exactly like you. My dream was to have an Avalon tree, but that's something people don't remember. They only remember when I was fortunate enough to own an Avalon tree. But in reality, it wasn't like that. I struggled like you to make my seed grow. I didn't give up, but years passed, and it didn't grow. People mocked me, saying I was wasting my time, that I had nothing while others were already prospering. One day, a traveler came to my house. He asked if he could stay because he had a long and irreversible journey ahead. I provided him shelter, though with some distrust. I told him everything about our culture, the seeds, and the trees. I told him I chose Avalon while everyone else picked easier to germinate seeds. I was astonished when he told me that in his distant land, Avalon trees were abundant, and it was known that they wouldn't germinate until the 8th year. After that, they would grow like any other tree. I couldn't believe it. The traveler left the next morning, and I never saw him again. I had a few more years for the tree to grow, and I worked any job I could to survive. The town despised me and didn't respect me, but I remained patient. However, the time came, exactly 8 years had passed, and as the traveler said, the seed sprouted. I had tears in my eyes when I saw a small stem suddenly emerge. All the time and effort had finally paid off. When the tree finally bore Avalon fruit, my entire life changed. Suddenly, I became famous, recognized, and people respected me. True abundance began in my life. In fact, those who used to mock me now started following me. They asked how I did it. I didn't want to reveal the truth because they didn't deserve to know. I invented that a traveler gave me an Avalon seed, and luckily, it did germinate. Years passed, and I saw many young people start with Avalon but quickly give up. Only a few didn't give up. To those I knew wouldn't give up no matter what, I went to their homes to tell them the secret, just as it happened to me, and now I do it once again with you. Suddenly, the rumor spread that only some Avalon seeds grew. It's not the luck of 1 in 1,000. People make up absurd excuses not to strive for their dreams when the only key to making an Avalon seed grow is to care for it with patience and persistence. The man left, leaving Pedro astonished. He realized that without the desire and persistence to achieve his dream, the old man would never have decided to tell him the secret. If you're not on the path, you'll never arrive. He had faith in his dream, and it was worth trusting it despite everything. Pedro became prosperous and happy. His family grew larger and more united. Pedro taught them everything he had learned from life, just like he did with those who deserved to know the secret in the town, as Mr. Caesar did. Subscribe if you liked this.